Новость от 7 июля. Власти Пенсильвании обвиняют еще 5 человек в расследовании сексуального насилия над детьми среди свидетелей Иеговы. Как вы помните, расследование началось несколько лет назад, и в конце прошлого года нескольким адептам было предъявлено обвинение. В начале года также было предъявлено обвинение, уже другим свидетелям. Вчера генеральный прокурор заявил еще о 5. Общий итог 14 человек. Я не буду комментировать, просто оставлю ссылки. В моем обзоре 2 видео на английском языке. Вы можете включить субтитры или текстовую раскадровку, или посмотреть с автоматическим переводом через Яндекс.Браузер или специальные программы. На этом у меня все.
Men are charged with sexually abusing children across Pennsylvania. The state attorney general, Michelle Henry, says the victims and the alleged predators were all members of Jehovah's Witness congregations.
These cases were presented to an investigative grand jury, and the grand jurors heard the evidence, they heard testimony, they considered and weighed it, and they made a recommendation to charge all 5 defendants.
The suspects live in Philadelphia, Delaware, Butler, Berks counties, and in Panama City, Florida. The AG's office says the victims range from 4 to 16 years old. The Jehovah's Witnesses tell NBC 10 in a statement that they cannot comment on the grand jury investigation, but that the idea that this happened sickens them. The statement says in part, quote, child sexual abuse in particular is a twisted act of evil. That is why for decades, Jehovah's Witnesses have gone to great lengths to educate and warn parents through our publications, meetings, and website about how to protect their children in a variety of circumstances, end quote.
Five men with ties to one religious organization are accused of sexually abusing children. Thanks for joining us for Fox 43 News. I'm Marshall Keeley. All 5 are members of the Jehovah's Witnesses religion, which the Pennsylvania Attorney General says gave them access to their victims. Fox 43's Harry Lee joins us now to explain how the charges filed against them today fit into a larger investigation of alleged child abuse.
Well, back in May, we broke the story that a grand jury convened by the Attorney General's office is working on a special report regarding an alleged cover-up of widespread child sex abuse within the Jehovah's Witnesses organization. While the Attorney General's office still won't confirm that report, today's charges are the furthest step we've seen yet to link individual arrests with the religious organization itself. Attorney General Michelle Henry announced the charges against 5 men who allegedly sexually assaulted children in Pennsylvania. While the 5 cases stem from unrelated incidents, Henry says they do have 2 things in common.
All 5 men had the trust of the victims and their families. And all 5 men were members of the Jehovah's Witness congregation, and many of them gained access to their victims through this organization.
Since October of last year, the total number of Jehovah's Witnesses charged for child abuse now rises to 14. As we first reported in May, the arrests come out of a larger investigation that will result in a grand jury special report. Henry suggested the Jehovah's Witnesses organization created an environment for the abuse to occur.
One of the key pieces to child abuse is that the offenders have to have access to their victims. They have to have a way in order to get to them and groom them.
Child advocates like Martin Hawk, a former Jehovah's Witness, say the report will help hold the religious organization accountable.
I'm extremely happy that the government's taking this so seriously, actually listening to advocates and actually protecting children.
However, a measure that would help victims hold their abusers accountable is still out of reach. The State House passed a bill to create a 2-year retroactive window for victims to sue their abusers, but it remains stalled in the Senate. Observers say with the General Assembly at an impasse, it's up to Governor Josh Shapiro to find a way to pass the bill.
Statute of limitations should be the highest thing on his list. The governor campaigned on this issue, and he made a promise. he said the window would be the first bill he signs. And so it's in his court.
Now, we took a deep dive into this situation in May, explaining how justice for child sex abuse survivors is tied to that retroactive statute of limitations window. That applies to abuse that happened within Jehovah's Witnesses, but also the Catholic Church and other organizations. To learn more, visit our website, fox43.com. Harry Lee, Fox 43 News.